But I train regularly, and age is just a number as far as I'm concerned.
That'll take off some love handles.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The Texas sky is still pitch black when an alarm whispers at 4:30 a.m. 85-year-old Chuck Norris opens his eyes, slips out of bed without waking Gina, and pads across a wooden floor that has felt his footsteps for half a century. Outside, coyotes trade secrets on the far ridge, and a single star burns through the cedar-scented darkness. Most men his age reach for slippers and coffee. Chuck reaches for duty.
I made it 4 today, but I feel like I'm 48.
He flicks on one low lamp, drops to the floor, and bangs out 50 slow push-ups, nose grazing the boards, breath locked to heartbeat. No music, no mirror, no hype, just gravity and intent. When the last rep bites, he kneels, bows his head, and whispers a one-sentence prayer of gratitude. Then he walks to the kitchen where habit number 1 is waiting in a chilled glass bowl. Blueberries so dark they're almost black. Why blueberries? Because every handful is a microscopic anti-aging arsenal. Anthocyanins that hunt free radicals, fiber that steadies blood sugar, and vitamin C that stitches collagen like a silent carpenter. Chuck learned decades ago that recovery begins at the molecular level, and he treats these berries like time capsules. Some mornings he eats them plain. Other mornings he blends them with artesian water drawn from his own ranch well, a brand the world now knows as C-Force. But he never skips them, ever. If you're wondering whether berries alone can feed a legend, stay with me. 4 more foods and an entire constellation of routines are about to unfold, each one stacking on the next like martial arts forms, all designed to keep muscles firing, joints oiled, and mind razor sharp.
But this machine has made me a lot stronger in my martial art and my training. And they said, yeah, it'll do that because it's working on all the muscles at one time.
Miss even one and the system wobbles. That's the hook Chuck dangled when I asked for details. Consistency is heavier than iron. Food number 2 sizzles in a cast iron skillet as dawn turns the windows gold. Farm-fresh eggs from free-roaming hens that spend their days scratching Texas soil. The yolks glow sunset orange, loaded with choline for brain health, lutein for eyes, and a perfect blend of amino acids to rebuild tissue torn during yesterday's workout. Chuck cooks them low and slow in grass-fed ghee, sprinkles a pinch of pink salt, folds them with wilted spinach, and eats standing. Because stillness is for meditation, not mealtime. The man has performed more film fight scenes than most actors have lines, yet his cartilage is intact. He credits a secret hidden in these eggs, vitamin K2, which shuttles calcium away from arteries and into bones, keeping joints springy and the heart unclogged. Doctors marvel. Chuck just smiles. Nature already wrote the prescription, he says. Food number 3 arrived on the ranch in 1998, the year he retired the Walker Texas Ranger cowboy hat. A ranch hand introduced him to grass-fed bison, leaner than beef, yet richer in creatine, zinc, and B vitamins. Chuck dry rubs a flank with smoked paprika, garlic, and cracked pepper, then grills it over mesquite until the edges char and the center stays ruby. 4 ounces deliver more protein than a protein shake and a flavor that reminds him why he trains: to live, not just lift. While the meat rests, he performs a 5-minute kata on the porch. Fluid blocks, whipping kicks, breath synced to movement. This isn't showy nostalgia, it's fascia work. Those kicks pump synovial fluid through hips that could easily have seized years ago. Bison fuels muscle, Catus lubricate joints. The loop is closed before lunch. Food number 4 might surprise you, a towering salad of dark leafy greens, kale, arugula, mustard leaf, clipped from raised beds beside his horse stables. Each forkful floods his bloodstream with magnesium to calm nerves, vitamin A to sharpen vision, and nitrates that open capillaries so oxygen can sprint to working muscles. He finishes the bowl in silence, chewing each bite until the leaves surrender to liquid. Digestion starts in the mouth, and Chuck respects beginnings. He does drizzle a dressing, but it's homemade. Extra virgin olive oil, apple cider vinegar, minced garlic, and a squeeze of ranch-grown Meyer lemon. No bottled sugar bombs, no seed oil sludge. The taste is lightning, bright, sharp, alive. So is the metabolic impact. By mid-afternoon, many retirees nap in recliners. Chuck straps on weighted boots, steps onto the Total Gym gliding bench he first endorsed 30 years ago.
If I want to work the tries, do these here. If I want to work the lats, right here.
And runs a 20-minute circuit. Incline pull-ups, reverse squats, seated rows, core pikes. The machine's cables whisper, his breath roars. Fasted training burned fat this morning. Resistance training now guards muscle. He's not chasing size, he's insulating independence. Minutes later, he's outside throwing a 14-pound medicine ball against a barn wall. Twist, slam, catch, repeat, 40 reps each side. Rotational power keeps punches crisp and spine young. A ranch hand times him on a battered stopwatch once used for sprint drills. Chuck always beats yesterday, even if only by half a second. Food number 5 waits in a mason jar cooling beside that wall. Bone broth simmered overnight from grass-fed beef knuckles, onions, carrots, and a splash of apple cider vinegar to tease collagen from marrow. He sips it like tea, letting gelatin coat the gut lining, glycine calm the nervous system, and trace minerals refill electrolytes sweat just drained. Doctors call it a longevity elixir. Chuck calls it cowboy coffee. Hydration threads through every hour. He carries a stainless flask of C-Force water on tractor rides, martial arts classes, even red carpet events. The aquifer lies 1,600 feet beneath his property, naturally alkaline, silky with silica that studies link to stronger connective tissue. He drinks at least 3 liters daily, more when Texas heat gnaws at the horizon. What about supplements? Just 2. A vitamin D 3K2 combo for bone health, and a probiotic his wife researches relentlessly. Everything else he chews, drinks, or breathes. Evenings slow but never stall. At 6 p.m., he walks the perimeter fence with German shepherds who treat every rabbit hole like a mission brief. This 2-mile loop doubles as moving meditation number 2, flushing cortisol while sunset paints the sky Navajo orange. Back home, he spends 10 minutes on a foam roller, another 10 hanging from a doorway bar to decompress the spine, then lowers into a 5-minute squat hold that would make younger men tremble. Ligaments learn longevity through load. Dinner lands around 7 o'clock, wild-caught salmon if a neighbor's fishing trip was kind, or lentil chili slow-cooked in a cast-iron pot. Carbs appear, sweet potato wedges roasted in rosemary or a small scoop of brown rice. But they're always anchored to protein and fat, flattening the insulin curve so sleep hormones rise like tide. Screens shut off at 8. Instead, he writes 3 lines in a leather journal: 1 gratitude, 1 lesson, 1 intention. The ritual purges mental clutter and cements a growth mindset. Neuropsychologists call it reconsolidation. He calls it peace. By 8:30, he's in a dark, cool bedroom wearing blue blocking glasses if he had to check an email after sunset. A ceiling fan hum and a faint cedar smell lull him into deep sleep within 10 minutes. He targets 7.5 hours, but never sacrifices quality for quantity. If he wakes groggy, he microanalyzes the previous day's caffeine, water, screen time, and training volume, then adjusts. Data drives discipline. There are also the negatives, the things he never lets through the gate. No processed sugar since 1993, when a stunt coordinator friend collapsed from diabetes complications. No alcohol since his youngest twins were born in 2001. "I want every memory crystal clear," he said. Minimal seed oils, 0 smoking, and a hard limit on people who drain rather than charge his spirit. Boundaries are health force fields. Weekends look similar, but extend into ranch chores that double as farmer strength training. Hauling hay bales, repairing fence posts, mucking stalls. Functional load, fresh air, sunlight, nature's triathlon. Friends visit expecting downtime and leave sore, smiling, and oddly proud. You might be thinking, great, but I don't own 1,000 acres or an artesian well. Fair. Yet each pillar scales. Swap blueberries for frozen berries, ranch eggs for pastured eggs at the farmer's market, grass-fed bison for lean beef or turkey, brew bone broth in a crock pot, walk a city block instead of a fence line, foam roll in a studio apartment. The variables differ, the principles remain. Anti-inflammatory foods, functional movement, strategic rest, unbreakable consistency. Still skeptical? In 2024, Chuck's physician ran a full biomarker panel. Fasting insulin in the low 5s, resting heart rate below 50, telomere length measuring closer to a man in his late 50s than his mid-80s. When reporters asked for the secret, he shrugged. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Then he dropped into a plank and outheld a camera crew half his age. So tomorrow at sunrise, picture that wooden floor push-up echoing through rural Texas and ask yourself which blueprint you'll follow. The default path of decay or the Norris protocol of daily, deliberate renewal. Start with one habit, maybe a handful of berries, maybe a 5-minute walk, maybe lights out 30 minutes earlier. Then stack the next and the next. Simple, repeatable, relentless. Because time will pass either way. The question is whether you'll ride it like a well-trained horse or let it drag you like a runaway steer. Chuck made his choice. Now the reins are in your hands. If dissecting the lives of ageless icons fires you up, hit subscribe and stay tuned. Next, we're decoding another legend who bent the calendar in half. Stick with us. You're only one habit away from rewriting your own timeline. This narration is for informational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making significant changes to your diet, exercise, or lifestyle. Thank you for watching.